highlight of the then booming sport of rollerblading. Those were the times when rollerblading was almost as omnipresent as skateboarding and BMX, at least in terms of marketing placement. Did rollerblading deserve so much attention? Well, it depends on who you ask.
All those movies, Batman Using Us, Airborne, they made a Hollywood stereotype attempt and they just used us as a vehicle. But they didn't really talk about us. They didn't really show us the way that we know we are.
You gotta have an agent in LA. It's vital.
The people who stick together and stick with it through these hard times, it's really gonna pay off because we're the ones that really care about rollerblading. Like some people quit over the years and companies have gone away, but it's like the ones that are gonna be there for the long haul, like it's all gonna pay off.
The dedicated skaters he's talking about have maintained their enthusiasm, a defiant act of self-affirmation. This is the same do-it-yourself ethos as the 1970s punk rock movement or any other youth movement of the 20th century. Disenfranchised youth becoming involved with a cause or community they believe in, bucking the system and popular opinion to focus on their own specialized interests.
It's like a subculture within a subculture within a subculture, and then you see all the extreme sports growing and becoming more popular and being accepted by the mass culture, and then it's just like there's rollerblading, this little dot in the back in the corner that's like these other subcultures have pushed to the side. So it's like it makes us this elitist group of these kids that actually care about something and they're doing something, they've committed their lives to something.
If we can showcase that freedom at its purest, because that's ultimately what's it expressing, is that individual freedom.
These are the seeds of defiance as a socially positive characteristic, character building at a subconscious level.
It's real, you know what I'm saying? It's not just about putting skates on our feet. It's a lifestyle.
Is brought to extermination.
A group of people with original interest and concepts, one of which would go on to change street skating across all the disciplines. And that was the IMYTA, originally known as the I Match Your Trick Association, the brainchild of John Julio, Mike Wilson, Ezekiel Anderson, and more.
It's the biggest international real street contest in the world. It's hard to describe unless you're there, because when you're there, you can feel the vibe, hear people talking and cheering you on and pushing people and, get that shit. It only makes it better that it's in real urban areas, the biggest rails, the biggest ledges. It's just real street.
Craziest tricks that have been done, on 8 wheels have gone down at one of the IMYT events, which helps just push the whole sport in general.
In 2000, outside the San Francisco X Games, the IMYTA held its first event, a raw and skater-judged street contest. The response was huge. Hundreds, if not thousands of skaters and spectators crowded each spot, and in those hours an international rollerblading phenomenon was born. What was originally launched as a collective protest towards the restrictions of the X Games and similar contests would soon go on to become adopted by those very organizations. But don't think the IMYTA got any credit when the X Games decided to start having their own real street contests. Meanwhile, outside of the rollerblading bubble, there are energies being committed to perpetuating the rollerblading is lame myth.
Can I trust you?
Before MTV discovered Jackass, Big Brother Skateboarding magazine was doing society's dirty work. And when it came time to publishing their 69th issue, they decided it would be the worst issue ever.
Can I trust you?
And it was. There was a Benihana air done over 2 or 3 300-pound women covered in fake blood.
Can I trust you?
The reason any of this is important here is because in that same issue was an interview by Big Brother's editor-in-chief Dave Carney with Arlo Eisenbereg. The premise? Dave and his henchman Chris Nirako were crocodile hunting Arlo as he skated spots. When he'd land a trick, they'd tackle him like the late great Steve Irwin. Even the captions were references to Irwin's particular manner of speech.
Look at the arms on this one. This one's a mean.
Truthfully, it was a beautifully satirical piece, but not many rollerbladers knew about it when it went down.
Can I trust you?
Furthermore, this sideshow was accompanied by editorial in which Arlo was asked questions designed to humiliate and embarrass. What it showed, though, were 2 things. One, that Arlo has a pretty damn good sense of humor to go along with something so obviously designed to make him look bad, and with the potential to really add more insult to rollerblading's already injured ego. And 2, that guys like Carney and Big Brother really were concerned with making rollerblading look bad.
I used to skateboard. I felt like I was a part of a community that was sort of like dissatisfied, angry with something. And skateboarding expressed it not just through the act of skateboarding, but also the art. It was just this whole culture. And it was unconventional. And so now, to be hated, just because of what I do, it's disappointing. And not only that, but the way that they would disrespect us, that's disheartening. My idols, the people that created this counterculture model, I mean, more than anyone else, anyone that participates in action sports, we are all following skateboarding's lead.
Yeah, I think part of the animosity originated from the fact that rollerblading was really big. We were taking skateboarders and they were turning into rollerbladers, and kids were starting out rollerblading instead of skateboarding. And so they saw this as a threat to their industry, and so of course they're gonna rag on it and try and beat it out, beat it into little kids that it's not cool.
It's really up to whoever's doing it to decide whether or not it's whack.
Rollerblading is undeniably fucking amazing. Like, the tricks that are being done and shit like that is just ridiculous. And to any human eye, you know, you can't deny it.
Despite having a turn the other cheek, let me do my thing, you do yours attitude in the face of all this negativity from outsiders, it was only a matter of time before something came of it.
Newer than skateboarding, newer than BMXing, so I guess it's got to take its fair share of getting beat up before it gets respected.
Obviously this core group believes in something, they're doing it, you know, they're not going to stop doing this. They've been tortured. We've been, literally tortured. You go to a bar, you sit at a bar, someone finds out you're a rollerblader, you're either going to get into a fight, or you're going to have to scoot over a chair, or it's especially here in San Diego. I have scars to show for the time where I stood up for rollerblading. It's not standing up, it's not even dealing with it, knowing that you're so above it. You get to that point. That's the point that our industry's gotten to, is we're so above it already.
2001 to present has been trying times for all the fruit booters, gay bladers, inliners, aggressive skaters, rollers, and bladers that prefer to refer to themselves as skaters. Except for the confusion that causes because most people assume you mean skateboarder.
As an industry, it's unfortunate and it puts us at a disadvantage that we don't have a specific label for what we do for our sport. When I first got involved with it, it was being dubbed aggressive skating, which was a new term that Arlo and all of these pioneers of the sport decided they wanted to call it in order to differentiate it from the other types of rollerblading, whether it be hockey or speed or dance. And so we're really proud of that name, but like with anything, like with styles and fashion and trends and different cycles, these things kind of become goofy after a while, and eventually there was sort of a stigma about aggressive skating. It was like we were trying too hard to differentiate ourselves. So aggressive skating had a backlash against it, and people went back to, well, we're rollerbladers.
Generally speaking, people that don't really worry about the classifications, someone like my dad or your dad or something would just say you're a rollerblader.
I think it's rollerblading. It's obvious. It's like, that's our name.
So we revert back to the original name that we all swore we hated so long ago, rollerblading. The word rollerblading is a trademark used in reference to a particular brand of inline skates. That company owns the words rollerblade and rollerblading, but the dictionary classifies rollerblader and rollerblader as nouns, which is a smart move. Smart because that's the word a majority of people use to describe the act of being one who enjoys inline skating. By late 2004, the most core rollerblading population, perhaps not even a tenth of the 17.3 million participants claimed by the Sporting Goods Manufacturers Association, has aged. These individuals have continued to be active in rollerblading despite being ostracized in their local area, as well as on a broad mass-marketed scale. An important step for a community in need of a strong foundation. These self-formed outcasts have aged, stuck through the trends of the times, and established against all attempts otherwise the image of the impervious rollerblader. The one rollerblader who skates with 10 skateboarders and bikers because they recognize his talent. They are supposed to hate him, but they make a concession because of skill and ability. Proof that a myth condemning a sport can only last so long in face of that sport's ever-evolving difficulty and amplitude. Eventually, talent and sheer athleticism break through stereotypes.
I respect what they do, you know, and they seem like they keep pushing the sport.
It is gaining unspoken respect in the eyes of its most serious critics. It is going through the same growing process the other alternative, or action sports, did years before. Scenes are starting to grow too. Small towns and big cities alike are bringing up new crews of bladers. The overall impression is that rollerblading is unpopular, but not going anywhere. The relative skill of the upcoming skaters improves too,